is no audio on that video, but it talks about the solar system ambassadors. There are about 720 in the United States. They get special training from NASA. They learn all about the missions and about the science, and they basically go out to public events all over the country teaching them about NASA missions. If you would be interested in becoming a solar system ambassador yourself, you can. We have a website. Look it up, Solar System Ambassadors. It is a NASA website. And starting September 1 through the end of the month, you can sign up to be a solar system ambassador. So check it out on the web, Solar System Ambassador. With me now is Jim Green. Jim Green is the head of planetary science for NASA. He's in charge of all planetary missions and asteroids. This guy knows his stuff. Let's talk about this. Now, you see this eclipse that doesn't happen. It happens once in a lifetime. But as a scientist, you see it as an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're getting the eerie feeling right now, but when we launch balloons, and there'll be 57 balloons along the path, 30 of which are going to have a planetary experiment on them.
And we have video of this. Now, just a few days ago, we had a crew here. They did a test launch for us, and they sent up an imaginary payload for us just to see how it all works. You have actual scientific experiments going on.
We do. We have bacillus. It's a harmless bacteria. We have 30 balloons, 2 coupons where the bacteria will be sprayed. One will stay on the ground. One will be affixed to the balloon. It then will go up to 100,000 feet above the ozone. So the ultraviolet light also block the. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're getting the eerie feeling right now, but when we launch balloons, there'll be 57 balloons along the path, 30 of which are going to have a planetary experiment on.
And we have video of this. Now, just a few days ago, we had a crew here. They did a test launch for us, and they sent up an imaginary payload for us just to see how it all works. You have actual scientific experiments going on.
We have bacillus. It's a harmless bacteria.
I have never seen. Put on my glasses too and take a look. Can we continue this conversation? All right, and watch, and we can talk. All right, so we still just a little sliver of the sun right now, and let's talk about this. Why is this so rare?
Well, you know, the plane of the moon relative to the Earth-Sun line is tilted by 5 degrees. And so there's only 2 places where the moon and the Earth and Sun are on that same line. And that's why every 18 months or so we get an eclipse. 1 minute away.
Crowd is getting excited.
It's already so.
Oh, wow, it just got dark all around us. And you can feel the temperature getting colder
Oh,
here.
yeah. The winds are really picking up. You know, this dark area, the winds are just flowing in.
Oh, you can see. It's just a tiny, tiny sliver right now. And you can feel the temperature.
There it goes. It's going. Getting smaller. Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Look at the ray structure. You can't get that on film. There's Venus.
Oh wow!
There's Venus.
Wow!
Wow. Oh, look at that ray structure.
You were saying this is the only way you can see the atmosphere.
Yeah, that lower part of the corona is really even hard from space to see. Wow. Wow. got to spend a second looking around at the crowd. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
You should turn off the lights.
All right. Get ready. Just put it back on yourself.
Okay.
Pretty quick.
Have you noticed, Jim? The street lights are all on
The
around
street
us.
lights turned on.
We confuse the street lights.
Of course. Who would have thought? Man, we didn't plan that one.
All right, we should get ready for our glasses again. Get ready with your glasses.
Okay. There it goes. There's the diamond ring. There's the diamond.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh.
That is
Is
so.
that all right?
Oh my gosh. Whoa. Oh, that's brilliant.
All right. Wow.
Okay, glasses back on.
Too brief. Too brief. Too brief.
Okay. We're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon, Jim. That was incredible.
Way too brief.
Yeah.
Way too brief.
We got a minute, 50 seconds.
Yeah.
That was all we had. Why is it that some parts of the country get a little more than we do?
Well, it has to do with the curvature of the Earth also. And so the shadow is at various altitudes. You could go up at a higher altitude and get also a great view too.
Well, this was a real treat. This was fantastic. So Idaho Falls has had its total eclipse. The next one is coming in 2252. We won't be here, but we hope NASA will. Back to you.
Gay Hill, that's Gay Hill from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Gay, I'm jealous. I'm telling you, I'm jealous. So, Alex, explain again that diamond.
Well, so the last bit of sunlight, when you see it at the very beginning, is when the last bit of the sun, the crescent, shrinks down to a little tiny bit. And at the same time, you can see a ring of the corona around it. So that makes the ring, and then that bright bit of crescent gives you the diamond. So when it reappears, you get the same thing. The last bit of corona is a ring. The flash of the sun is the diamond, giving you the diamond ring. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight.
And real quick, and then I'm going to ask you a question because there was something going on here in Charleston. The planetary, Jim Green said something about Venus. This is really cool for planetary science because you can see other planets, right?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, one of our missions through the WB-57 aircraft are studying Mercury, which is very, very close to the sun.
Okay, so we're gonna come back to you, and we're gonna talk about what's happening here. So next up, NASA's ready to take a bite out of the Big Apple, one of my favorite cities, Johnny, New York City. Today's New York City. Today's broadcast is being shown, I believe, in Times Square on the Toshiba Vision screen, so the city can also enjoy the spectacular views of today's total eclipse. And we've had a great relationship with Toshiba, so a shout out to you guys. This Midtown Manhattan tourist location is always bustling with crowds. On the average day, over 300,000 people pass through Times Square. Alex, I'm gonna turn to you. You know, New York, they're gonna get a partial, but they have a rich history in solar eclipse.
They really do. So actually 92 years ago, on a cold January morning, New York City, Manhattan, and Queens experienced a total solar eclipse. The edge of the path of totality went from 95th Street to 97th Street. This was an amazing opportunity. This was the first time we sent up 2 dirigibles with the U.S. Naval Service for scientists to study this. At the time, we actually thought the eclipses could be creating radio waves which mess with communication. But what in fact is happening is the sun itself is creating this disturbance. So studying the eclipse is actually telling us about the sun, which is creating these disturbances here on Earth.
Okay, so this just in, believe we have results from an experiment that occurred on NASA's Gulfstream 3 aircraft from NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center. Karen Rohr is standing by with Thomas Abukin, research administrator for the NASA Science Mission Director. Let's go now to see what the instrument observed during the total solar eclipse. Kevin.
And we're back here at the G3 up over the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Oregon. It was amazing, wasn't it? And for me, like, you know, I have 25 years I did research on the corona. I saw it for the first time. It was my first eclipse. Was it your first eclipse?
My first eclipse as well.
Just absolutely amazing. And I want to talk about two things. First of all, the shape of the corona. You know, I saw the models. I showed the model. It was remarkably similar. You know, I saw these streamers, these magnetic structures coming out like glows in specific directions, just like we expected. So I'll look for the analysis before we claim victory, of course. But the other one is that spectrograph you, Mike, you know, ran on board. And just before that, the sun, you know, disappeared behind the moon. That spectrograph, of course, is spreading out the light in all its colors. Just before it disappeared, there is that one shot. And Lori, I want to ask you if you can turn it on. You see those specific kind of lines that pop up between the green and the red. It's just like we said, it's helium. Remember, that's how it was discovered, helium. We didn't know we had helium here. It was a new element. It was discovered that way. And then over there in the red, between the green and the red is iron. Iron, a really hot iron, telling us that, hey, this atmosphere is really hot. And then a little bit over is another line, red. Well, what is that? Well, it's hydrogen. Well, so even though it's really hot up there and only 1 in a million or 10 of million particles are neutral, it's still visible in that one shot that you saw. So, Robert, back to you here, back on Earth. What did you feel like? How did you see this occur?
Yeah, so it was fascinating to watch actually the shadow or the path of totality underneath us. We're at 35,000 feet, and you could see at totality, you could actually see the darkness down on the ground. And you could look north and south and see where it wasn't completely dark. And as we kept going, you could just watch that darkness move. It's almost like a thunderstorm moving across the plains. But it was all the darkness, and it was just stunning to me to see that. So really, really good stuff. And I wasn't expecting that. And of course, the eclipse itself was beautiful, but seeing what happened down on the ground level of Earth from 35,000 feet was amazing. I just got to tell you, the team on this plane and the team all the way around this country is just doing a fantastic job. I wish you could have seen the folks here working. To make sure we got the data that Thomas showed, some fantastic images we've already looked at that I can't wait to share with everybody and for everybody to see. But really exciting to watch this team work, and the pilots did a great job. We had a little bit of a challenge right at the time of when we needed to be best, but they did a great job recovering from that and then kept us on path all the way through. So anyway, so thank you guys. Remember to put your glasses on for those who hadn't seen it yet, and we'll talk to you soon.
Fantastic stuff. And if you just tuned in here, you're watching Through the Eyes of NASA, NASA television. We have the best views of the solar eclipse today, and coming later in the show, you don't want to miss this, the International Space Station live. Now, next up, let's visit a working farm at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee. Agricultural observations and solar eclipse viewing activities are underway, including high-altitude balloon launches and painting cows.
Painting cows? What?
Okay, all right. So now let's go to the NASA Launch and Space Flight Center. Chris Blair standing by.
We're naturally excited about the solar eclipse, but one thing we've learned on this working agricultural farm is that animals can as well. But more on that in a moment. As right now we're getting ready to do a live scientific balloon launch, and joining us to tell us more is Dominic Critchlow from Austin Peay State University. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So tell the crowd and our audience a little bit about the scientific payload you have on board.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Today we're flying some still image equipment, and we're going to be taking images of the ground in different wavelengths. And we're also flying live streaming equipment, so we can live stream the eclipse, looking downwards and looking around at 100,000 feet, which is higher than any plane has ever gone. We're also flying some biological samples with NASA Ames, and then our trackers, so we can have a successful recovery.
Okay, they just released your balloons. So let's talk about the NASA science and the biological samples. Explain more.
So NASA Ames has contacted us and all of the other teams.
NASA science and the biological samples. Explain more.
So NASA Ames has contacted us and all of the other teams that are going to be doing launches today across the whole path of the eclipse. We're going to be all have a little chip biological samples on there that are going to go up in the stratosphere, which is a similar atmosphere as we would see on the Martian surface. So we're doing some Martian studies, which is really interesting and cool.
We are very excited about that. So also, how many balloon releases are you planning on doing this today or this weekend?
And so all across the US, we have about 50 teams that are launching in the path of the eclipse so that we can have full coverage of the stream. And on the site today, we have 3 launches from 3 different universities. And we're just really
come back down. And so what's some advice if anyone finds one of these payloads out and about across the country? What's the tip you would they come back down? And so what's some advice if anyone finds one of these payloads out and about across the country? What's a tip you would tell them?
If you find it, leave it there. Maybe take a picture because it's kind of cool to see something land in your backyard for research. And please don't touch it. We'll be there soon to pick it up. If you have to move it, let us know. And we'll just be there to recover it.
Awesome. Thanks. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so yesterday we had a chance to catch up with some serious students, albeit a little younger, but serious about doing real-world science nonetheless. And here to tell us more is my good friend and colleague, Mitzi Adams from NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Mitzi, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So tell us about the science that these high school students are working on.
Well, the students are actually working on some atmospheric science experiments. They're doing animal study experiments, and they're helping us observe the sun in various wavelengths of light.
And these students aren't just from the Clarksville area. I understand they're all around the country, if not perhaps the globe.
The students are from the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, and yes, they are from all around the globe. And they're actually from the Inspire project as well. They're participating in VLF radio noise experiments, and those folks are from Washington, D.C.
All right, excellent. So you mentioned the Space and Rocket Center, Space Camp. That's the official visitor center for NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Feel free if you're in northern Alabama to come and see us. They do a great job of representing a past, future, and present history of NASA. So any parting words?
Well, you know, in the words of Frank Reynolds, I'd like for us to remember for the next American eclipse in 2024, let the shadow of the moon fall on an earth at peace.
Very poetically done. We appreciate it. All right, so up next is, as promised, our Animal Lovers segment. And so here on the agricultural farm, students are studying a really cool STEM field. So it's conservation management, it's veterinary medicine, animal biology. And so they're interested in animal behavior. And so joining us is Dr. Donald Sutbrick, head of the Ag Department here at Austin Peay State University. And so it's not cow tipping, it's cow painting, correct?
Yes, we had to paint the cows that are going to be in this study to see what sort of things that they would do so we could record the individual animals so we could see what behaviors that they were exhibiting.
So we saw the cows and the students were involved with that Mitzi just spoke about. And we're also talking about cricket behavior and cricket observations.
Yeah, yes. Well, we're also talking about crickets. I'm an entomologist by training, and crickets generally chirp at night. So we're going to get a chance to see a series of isolated males and see what they do when the sun goes down.
Okay, excellent. We're glad you all are doing this kind of observational research. Really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. So, and speaking of time, it's almost time for us, everyone here at Austin Peay State University, to actually watch the solar eclipse. So let's go back live for continuing coverage of NASA's eclipse across America from Charleston.
Okay, so Dottie, I wonder if the milk tastes better when you paint the cows.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right, let's go to social media. We've been in the show here, and I know it's a buzz. So over to John Yerbick for social media update.
Yeah, last time I looked, Dwayne, there were 2.1 million people looking online on our website, on our at 1.2 on our live stream. So it's a huge conversation. And Solar Eclipse 2017 is still trending #1 on Twitter. So it's been huge. Can we go to the first slide here that I got up? This right here is an amazing photo. Sometimes they say you have to be at the right place at the right time. This is taken by one of our NASA photographers, Bill Ingalls, out in Washington. And he captured, it's hard to see here in this pic, but he captured the International Space Station transiting the sun during the partial eclipse there in Washington. Pretty amazing. You kind of have to look closely. We'll also be putting these images up online if you want to see them. But one of those little dots there is the International Space Station traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. Here's another one from our photographer.
in Wyoming. Same concept, capture the space station. We knew exactly when the space station was going to be flying, what its orbit was, and when it was going to cross the sun. And look here, it's just an amazing sight. I'm really proud of our photographer for getting these shots and proactively trying to get something that no one else probably has, and thinking through and getting this great image. So let's take a few questions from social media. I want to remind our viewers at home that you can ask questions to us here on the set and on social media with the hashtag Eclipse 2017. So why don't we bring it back here to the stage? First question is from Twitter. What if we wear sunglasses instead of eclipse glasses? Will we actually be able to see the eclipse? Sunglasses help. Does it give you any sort of protection?
No, that's definitely a no-no. You should not wear sunglasses, normal sunglasses. Always wear the actual sunglasses that are made for solar viewing, like the ones that I'm having here right now in my hand. And if you don't have the sunglasses, you never look directly at the sun. You look like you do an indirect projection of that eclipse. Never look at the sun without the proper safety.
So another question here comes from Deborah from Facebook. So the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the Earth rotates in clockwise motion. Please explain how it starts in the west and ends in the east.
Well, so the Earth is rotating from west to east, but actually the moon is moving faster, about 3,400 miles an hour, casting a shadow down on the Earth, which is rotating about 1,700 miles an hour. And that actually means that the shadow is moving from west to east across the Earth at about somewhere between 1,200 to 1,800 miles per hour, depending on where you are on the Earth.
Okay, great. We have another one. I think we have time for another one. Tina from Facebook asked, if I place a lens from the eclipse viewing glasses over a viewfinder on my iPad, could I successfully video the eclipse, or would it fry my camera?
Yeah, you can actually look with the iPad or your phone to the eclipse. The only thing is, you have to be very careful not to look at it with your own eyes without the actual safety glasses. Never look at it through any lens.
Okay. This is Vicky from Facebook. Hey, NASA, the International Space Station, see the shadow of the moon crossing America from space. And they have that view when they're looking from space?
They do, and that's what we're hoping to see from them. Yes.
Excellent. So, John, we're going to come back to you. So I think we're going to go back to Sean, our meteorologist. Let's learn more about how NASA is studying the Earth and Sun relationship during this eclipse. Sean, can you tell us more about that? Well worth the wait, my friend. We're a little delayed there, but my goodness. Johnny, did you see that? I mean,
That was amazing. Do you see that diamond ring?
that was, you know, it was even more prominent there.
It was very prominent. You could see like the rate of light, like very, very nice, and the whole diamond around the whole surface. It was amazing.
And Alex, it got really dark. I mean,
It really did. That's actually enjoyed seeing them out on that prairie, seeing it looked like she was in some sort of weird, strange light. She was lit up, and everything behind her was dark. It was really cool.
fantastic. Nebraska, you're rocking the house. We really, really appreciate that. But like Vince said, there's a lot more to come, and we got the International Space Station. Don't forget. So, Johnny, I want to go back. You know, we had to bring in those images, but we were talking about, and you mentioned the stamp. Now, the United States Postal Service, they do amazing work.
They do.
But they really outdid themselves this time. Go ahead and finish.
They did. They actually created a special stamp for this event. It's actually a thermochromic stamp, which means that it gets activated by heat, and you're actually looking at it now in your images. This stamp, if you put your thumb into the center, it will actually make the smooth surface appear, or any type of heat that you apply to it. It's an amazing stamp, and you know, I got mine yesterday thanks to Queen.
And it's thermochromic?
Thermochromic, yes.
Yes. Oh, wow.
It means it gets activated by the heat.
Yeah. And I bet you they sold a lot of those things.
Oh, they did. They sold out online originally right away. So it's quite a popular one. It's the first time the U.S. has ever used that type of ink.
Okay. So we have seen some pretty cool images. Still got some more to come.
Yeah.
The diamond has been prominent. Let's go over to social and see how things are going. John.
Thanks, Dwayne. We're continuing to look up here in Charleston, South Carolina. There's some clouds there, and we're excited. Excited we want to have here too as well. Just a couple of quick interesting things. This is the biggest live stream event ever measured on NASA.gov. The web traffic is accounting for 87% of all federal web traffic, which is pretty amazing, showing that people are really tuning into our broadcast here. As of 1:40, you have 4.4 million people climbing or watching this broadcast. So the interest across the country is obvious here, and we're going to show you some amazing live views. This right here is, again, another photo of the space station taken by Bill Ingalls in Washington, one of our photographers here at NASA. Next thing, I have a video from another photographer, one of our other photographers, as the space station transits. You can see it there. If you're looking closely, you can see the space station transiting the sun during the partial eclipse. It's pretty spectacular. Again, that's 250 miles per hour, that space station. And you have to be, 250 miles above the Earth, 17,500 miles per hour. You have to be taking a lot of different shots pretty fast to capture that. So, nice job, Joel.
Okay, so let's go to Jefferson City. The moon shadow is continuing to pass over the United States in this remarkable celestial event. Our next stop on the path, as I said, of fatality is Jefferson City, Missouri. We're going to hand off to meteorologist Gary Aldridge, who is a professor of atmospheric science at the University of Missouri. He has some special guests to help explain two important impacts solar activity can have on humans and the technologies we use. Over to you, Eric.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, we are live in Jefferson City, Missouri. Jefferson City is actually the state capital, and as you can see behind me, there's a lot of people that are here. It's been a whole weekend type of thing. Saturday, Sunday, and of course here on Monday, lots of family-friendly things. There's been corn mazes, there's been 5K runs, there's a lot of good food. Too bad you can't smell the food, but there's a lot of good food that's here as well. And just a very nice weekend. The weather has been perfect. We've had some showers and thunderstorms off to the west all morning. We've had a few high clouds kind of stream on in, but certainly things are looking really good. I am lucky to be joined here by two special people that are going to be talking about space, weather, and just how things work in space. Dr. Janet Kavandi, thank you so much. You are the director of the NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland. You're also a three-time shuttle astronaut.
That's right.
And you're actually from Springfield, Missouri. So welcome home.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Well, great. Yeah. So now, we've been talking a lot about safety, and obviously you don't want to look right up at the sun.
Not without these.
That's right. Yeah. And so we all have some, so that's good. But what about the astronauts that are up in space? What is there to help keep the astronauts safe from the solar radiation and so on and so forth?
Well, for their eyes, we know that they know that certain windows they should not look out of because there's no protection. Other windows have protection on them that help shield their eyes. But also there's other kinds of radiation like protons that come from the sun, heavier particles that can cause damage to our cells. And we try to shield the astronauts as best we can because they're above the atmosphere. We're shielded here by the atmosphere quite a bit. But above that, you don't have that natural shielding. So we have to do it with metal in the vehicle and then some water bags around the sleep station so they can sleep surrounded by water. And that also helps absorb some of that radiation.
Okay. Now, we also are kind of excited about space communications, and that's certainly another special research area. And so also with me here today is Dr. Tamitha Skov. You're from the Aerospace Corporation in Los Angeles, so welcome to Central Missouri.
Thank you.
Now, you're also a space meteorologist, and you are also referred to as the space weather woman, right? So I've been intrigued by this. What exactly does the space weather woman do?
Well, most people don't realize that the sun actually has its own unique weather that comes from it. And those solar eruptions that come from the sun, they actually hit Earth and cause issues for us. So I actually do a weekly broadcast, weather predictions, just like you do, like a meteorologist, that talks about when these events hit Earth and the types of issues that they cause for things like communications, like GPS and other systems.
Okay, now we're just about 15 seconds away, actually.
We're going to put our glasses on.
So we're going to put our glasses on. You can hear the crowd cheering in the background. I think it's getting dark.
We're getting close to the end of this. Here we go. We're almost at totality.
And
you see the
here we go.
almost a diamond ring right there? And there we go. I think we're at totality. Now you can take your glasses off.
That is amazing.
You can actually see the corona a little bit, even through the clouds.
That is incredible. Now, Dr. Cavande, you've been in space. You've seen numerous sunrises and sunsets from the space shuttle. How does this even compare?
Oh, this is completely different than anything I've seen before. I never saw an eclipse. I've seen a partial, but nothing like this. This is really unique and nothing like I saw in space. Space has this really cool visuals, but this is really amazing.
And I'm starting to hear the crickets. They're starting to come on out. Obviously, the street lamps. This is just amazing. Now, I'm also looking up to try to find the Big Dipper and some of the other stars.
Not for the clouds, likely.
Right.
And I'm really mesmerized by this. This is a spectacular event. We've had several solar storms that have been launched, and some of them have been launched from the left side of the sun. So we're actually seeing a difference from what the corona looked like in our predictions to what it looks like now. And then on top of that, we have ham radio operators all over the state right now who are making contacts that they haven't been able to make because the upper atmosphere is just all turbulent right now, and it affects the communication signals. So we've got GPS operators and ham radio operators doing a ton of science, and it's just so overwhelming.
This is amazing. Now, my team of atmospheric science researchers from the University of Missouri, they are actually sending up weather balloons here this afternoon to try to figure out how the weather is changing at certain height levels. And actually, here's a map of the solar radiation throughout the state of Missouri. And if you kind of see how much solar radiation is hitting the surface of the earth here in Missouri, just interesting. This is amazing.
It is. You can tell the crowd is just mesmerized. This is so cool. And you can even see the dips in the valleys as you can see little areas of the sun where it's shining through more.
Right, and those create the Bailey beads that we see as we get out of totality, which is coming up here pretty soon.
Right. Yeah, I think we come out of totality at 1:15:35 local time, so we just have a few more seconds of that. Absolutely an amazing event. And again, we're so lucky that some of these high clouds were able to kind of fall apart a little bit.
Yes, and I can't believe we can actually see the corona through the clouds.
Good.
Okay, that's the air horn. We're coming out of totality. We're going to have to end up.
So we need to put our safety
There
glasses on.
we go. Put your there we go. We got to put the glasses back on. Oh my goodness.
So as you can see, we're coming out of totality here in Jefferson City, Missouri. Ladies, thank you so much for experiencing this with me.
Quite an experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So everyone's excited here in Jefferson City, Missouri. Sun's starting to come out a little bit. We're going to go ahead and send it back to Charleston.
We should have stayed.
Thanks, Eric. Yachty, wow.
It's an amazing, like, I get goosebumps every time I see this. And so I cannot imagine how it's going to be, you know, when we actually see it here in South Carolina.
I mean, so Alex, you know, I'm speechless, man. I mean, as a scientist, you gotta like love this stuff, right?
Oh my God, it's so great to hear that, man. I love hearing an experienced astronaut talk about how overwhelming it is, given the amazing things that she has seen, but also to hear my colleague, Tamara Scove, who is also a heliophysicist and a space weather expert. I can hear the excitement in her voice. I mean, it's palpable. It's just great.
Okay. So check this out, guys. I mean, I think things are going so smooth. We're gonna go to another image right now from Hopkinsville. Brian Massey out there from Marshall Space Flight Center. What's going on? You got some action there. Hopkinsville. There it is.
Oh, that's beautiful. They're getting close.
Now, it's yellow. Is that, we had purple, does that mean something there?
Well, the previous one we saw that was purple was calcium K. It was a blue kind of light. This is actually more of a white light continuous. But the thing to remember is sometimes the different filters you use will change the color just a little bit. But what we're seeing here is really more visible, broader spectrum white light.
White light.
Let me, John, you gotta have some cool stuff on social media.
This is a good question, guys. Mark from Facebook is asking, and this is what really applies right now. When observing the moon at night, I see it proceed from eastern to western horizon, much like the sun does. How come the solar eclipse is traveling from west to east across the U.S.?
Well, again, that's because when we're looking at the moonrise, that's actually because of our location on the Earth and the fact that the Earth is rotating from west to east. The same reason that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But the moon itself is moving in the same direction the Earth is rotating, and it's casting that shadow down on the Earth, and that is moving in the direction that both the moon is orbiting and the Earth is rotating. So from west to east.
Okay, so the total eclipse has now passed over half the country. It's currently over Illinois, and I think we're going to have some views coming up shortly. But what I really want to do here, guys, is this has been really incredible. I want to give a shout out to the College of Charleston. Make some noise. Oh, we're loving it here. So now we got live video coming to us from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It's a small town that's known for southern hospitality, like Charleston, and it's also a prime spot for viewing this total solar eclipse. Hopkinsville is the city with the longest duration of the total solar eclipse, for a total of 2 minutes and 40 seconds of totality. NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Brian Massey, I'm so excited. What you got, man?
Excited as you are. We are here in Eclipseville. Say hello, everybody. Oh, we're having a great time. I'm surrounded by 1,000 of my best friends. We're getting ready. It's starting to get a little darker already. We're also joined here by NASA Marshall Planetary Scientist, Renee Weber. Renee, thanks for joining us.
Thanks. It's really great to be here. I just want to say thank you to the city of Hopkinsville for having us out on this beautiful farm in Kentucky. And we're just all really excited.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. The light's starting to fade and the excitement's getting bigger. We are at the point of greatest eclipse here at Hopkinsville. Renee, tell us a little bit, what's the significance of that?
Well, the point of greatest eclipse is actually a point in time when the axis of the moon's shadow is pointed most directly towards the center of the Earth. So we are at the point on the surface of the Earth where that time occurs.
Exactly. The shadow will actually be more circular here than anywhere else in the country.
That's right. And it's getting really dim, and we are just so close. It's incredible.
Yeah, this is amazing. We can't wait to break out in the darkness. We've got our glasses out. We've been looking up at it. You can see now on the screen our live
telescope view. And this is just amazing. Everybody is really enjoying it. We've got people from all over Kentucky, people from all over the world have joined us here, as this is Eclipseville, USA, and we are just a few minutes away from total totality. But before we get to that point, Renee, tell us, you're a planetary scientist and you specialize in the moon, a lunar scientist. How does the eclipse really speak to what you do?
Well, it is pretty cool to look up there, and when you're seeing that sun get dimmer and dimmer, it's because the moon is up there. Right. And I like to tell everyone that you're really looking at the moon when you're watching a solar eclipse, and it's just getting dim, and it's starting to get a lot cooler too. Yeah, it's incredible.
This is my first solar eclipse. Renee, have you ever experienced one?
This is my first total eclipse too. I've seen partial eclipses, but I've never had a chance to see totality before, and I'm just so excited.
It's amazing. The light is starting to fade as the moon steps in front of the sun here, and it's already just a really eerie feeling here, getting dark in the middle of the day. But we're really excited about it, and we're just a few seconds away. I've lost my counter, but I'm going to look back at the sun while I still have the opportunity. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. We're down to just a thin sliver of the sun. Renee, what do you think about this?
I can't believe it. It looks incredible, and it really is starting to get dim, and nobody even needs their sunglasses, just your eclipse glasses, and you can see that beautiful crescent sun.
Wow, this is absolutely amazing.
We're just really looking forward to that for a chance. We got no clouds here in the sky, and you can see some airplanes up there, but that sun's just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's definitely a Hopkinsville, Kentucky Chamber of Commerce sponsored day here in Eclipseville. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it's amazing how it's gotten so much cooler here since the sun started covering up started being covered.
Yeah, it's nice to have a break from that hot southern sun.
Yeah, definitely. We've been sweating it out a couple days here in Hopkinsville, getting ready for this.
We're getting really close now.
So what exactly are we looking at here, Renee?
Well, we're just about close to 100%. It's just getting smaller and smaller, and it's getting dimmer and dimmer, and hopefully soon we'll have a chance to see those Bailey's beads and that diamond ring. Right. That's when you can actually see the light shining through the moon's valleys. And the moon's not a perfectly smooth sphere. It's got that rugged surface, and you can see those sun rays shining through those mountains and valleys and craters.
Wow.
It's looking like we're about 1 minute out now, and it's just getting smaller and smaller.
Wow, this is amazing.
The crowd's getting really excited too.
Hey guys, who back there is excited for the solar eclipse? Wow, it's getting closer.
Wow. It's just getting really close to nighttime. It's incredible. It's like very dim.
Definitely it feels like dawn or dusk here in Hopkinsville right now as it's getting closer.
And you can see on our feed, there's that tiny, tiny little sliver left to go. And it's really starting to get dark now. Wow. It's like dust. And you can see the pink color around the horizon. Oh, it's like a sunset. It's beautiful. It's going. It's going. Just that tiny, tiny last sliver. Oh my goodness.
And we are in total solar eclipse.
Wow.
This is absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, you can see the corona, that beautiful white wispy crown coming out from the sun in all directions. And we can see airplanes, and I think I see Jupiter in the sky over there. I think I can see Jupiter.
Wow.
And I see other planets too, and stars.
I can only imagine in ancient times what this must have been like.
I know.
Out of nowhere, I am covered in head to toe in goosebumps, a continued chill.
I know, I am too. I just can't believe we finally got a chance to see it. I mean, it's one thing to read about it, but it's another thing when you get to see it yourself with your own eyes.
Guys, we're going to take a break here in just a second. We're going to step back and fully enjoy this and hope you enjoy our feed on the telescope.
Clarksville. It has definitely lived up to.
And now we're getting that diamond
Here we
ring
go.
on the
We've
way
got it coming
out.
back. The moon is stepping aside
And
from the
now
sun. It is getting
totality's over.
brighter. Totality has finished here at Hopkinsville. Wow, that was absolutely amazing, Renee. Can you even try to put it in words?
I can. I mean, I just have goosebumps all over my body.
Wow, this is amazing. We can see the birds flying
Yeah,
around.
we can see the sun starting to come out and it's getting bright again.
This is amazing.
It's really a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
Until the next eclipse
Yeah,
that we'll
exactly.
have only 6 years away, we get to see it again.
Wow, we'll be there.
Yeah.
We will be making
Yeah,
our way.
I think I'm hooked. I'm an addict.
We have sat in meetings preparing for this for the last 2 or 3 months, and now that it's actually here, it's completely 100% lived up to its billing, and I can't imagine, I can't believe what just
It
happened.
was just amazing. We were so worried about the weather and the,
Right,
and the broadcast and making sure our telescope was set up and everything went smooth, and we just had a blast.
Wow, this has been absolutely amazing. Folks, we have really enjoyed it. It's been a great time here at Hopkinsville, here in Eclipseville, USA. Now time for us to send it back to Clarksville, Tennessee, where our good friend Chris Blair is standing by for their reaction to the eclipse. Chris?
But I think he meant Charleston, not Clarksville. So let's bring it back here in Eclipse Central. There's only one Eclipse Central, and it's here in Charleston. Yeah, okay, so the hits just keep on coming through the eyes of NASA. Now, let's continue. Now, these are going to be pre-recorded views from the high-altitude WP-57 aircraft. They soar high above the clouds that could potentially block the views of today's eclipse. And they're chasing the total solar eclipse. They're mid-wing, long-range aircraft used to conduct high-altitude research. So, let's go to these pre-recorded views. Yeah. Okay. What are we seeing here, Alex?
So right now we're looking at these specially fitted cameras. They're on the nose cone of the WB-57, and these are designed to look at the corona, and they're also designed to look at Mercury. They're taking thousands of images every minute and processing this data to give us an extended view, because up there at 50,000 feet, it's 20 to 30 times darker than it is here on the Earth. It's a lot less scattered light. So this is a really unique opportunity. As those two planes fly in tandem, they give us about 8 or more minutes of the view of the corona. The other thing they're actually looking at is, because they're so high up, it's very cold, and that allows them to take infrared observations. And in this case, Mercury is very close to the sun, and they can take infrared observations of Mercury to see the temperature change as Mercury is rotating.
That's amazing. So we're going to come back with that. But let's go, now let's go to Clarksville and see what's going on there.
All right, thanks and welcome back. We're excited to highlight some of the student science and the STEM aspect of this solar eclipse. We have several students joining us right now. Would you please tell our audience your name and what school you go to?
My name's Eliza Dillard. I'm from the University of Alabama, Huntsville.
And what club or group are you with?
I'm actually with the Space Hardware Club.
All right, and you guys have been launching balloons all day today. Tell us about the scientific payloads and the instrumentation.
Well, in our first balloon, we had a Geiger counter counting alpha, beta, gamma particles. We also had a pointing payload to get stabilized camera footage along the way. We had some hops from one of our local breweries. And then we, on our second balloon, we had a live streaming payload. So that was cool. That was probably our biggest project, thanks to Alabama Space Grant and National Space Grant. And so we were really excited with all of our experiments. They went really well.
Excellent. Well, we're glad you came here to do this. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. So that's University of Alabama in Huntsville. And so we also have another student joining us from Space Camp, U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Tell our audience, please, your name and just who you're with. So tell us your name.
I'm Stephanie Bonifield. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And you're with the Space Gaming all weekend long to get
Eclipse stuff, what the Eclipse will experience, and a lot of buddy like burning their retinas during what experiments we'll be doing. We set up the shadow band bot here that are out of the shot, but we recorded hopefully some interesting data about what was happening during totality. So that's pretty cool.
So you guys will go back and go over that data a little bit. Tell us about the students. Where are they from? It's not just students from Alabama.
No, yeah, we have students from all over the country and even all over the world. We have students just in my team who are from like Spain. We've got someone from Norway, all over the world. It's crazy. There's a girl in another group who's from Mexico and a boy from Mexico, and they were like talking to each other in in Spanish the other day, and that was really neat, just meeting other people from other cultures. So you really get a neat experience at camp.
Absolutely. Education is global. And so lastly with you, give us your first reaction to viewing the solar eclipse.
It's just really crazy. It is daylight here, and it was daylight before, and then the eclipse kind of comes in slow, and it's just like a glowing ring in the sky. It's incredible. It's so hard to explain. And then the lighting, it's not like dark like at night. It's like this kind of almost eerie sort of ambient lighting, and there's a sunset everywhere. And then after totality, like right after, it was like somebody turned the daylight back on. The moon just moves away and it's light again. It's really awesome.
No, absolutely. It's exactly what happened. So thanks. We appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. So we got one more student joining us. It's from the Inspire Project. Please tell us your name and what school you attend.
I am Robert Osbrooks, and I attend Chesapeake Math and IC Academy in Maryland.
And tell us a little bit about the science experiments or research you were working on while you were here.
I was working with the balloons, and I was also working with the shadow bands and the ham radio.
All right, and how about your first reaction to the solar eclipse?
It was just amazing. When I saw the sun go away, and it almost went pitch black, and I just looked up, and there was just a ring around the sun, and it was amazing. That's all I have to say.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. On behalf of everyone here at Austin Peay State University and NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, thanks for letting us be a small part of this wonderful event. Right now, let's go back live for continuing coverage of this eclipse from Charleston.
Thank you, thank you. We are having a great time here at the College of Charleston. But we got more images coming here and the International Space Station later. Let's get some images coming in from the Great Smoky Mountains, one of the largest national parks east of Rocky Mountain. Alex, what is that? That looks awesome.
We're looking at the sun that's still too bright, but it's almost completely covered. It's getting dimmer and dimmer, and this is the unfiltered sun. So we're going to go straight from this to seeing the corona directly. This is going to be a pretty cool shot, actually.
So here's the glasses still on.
Dimmer. Still got to have your glasses on. It's still too bright to look at directly, but it's just almost like a little tiny Christmas star or something. It's crazy. It's getting tiny and tinier.
Why was it in the shape of a star? That's the first one I've seen.
That's the there it is. I can see the corona.
Oh, okay.
That's because the camera itself didn't have a filter on it. It was too difficult to see. But we can see the corona. There's now a little black dot, and you can see the corona around it. And that's actually the closest to what we're going to see when we look at it with our own eyes, when we view it here.
John, let's go to social, man. They got to be buzzing on the conversation here.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming in. It's trending all over social media. Let's pull up this image right here on the sidebar if possible. This right here is just one of our users did of the eclipse from Arlington, Texas. Pretty freaking cool, showing the showing the partial eclipse on his hand. Really interesting. And then we have the Toshiba screen at New York City, where of course everyone there in Times Square is able to see the partial eclipse. So it's pretty spectacular. Views coming in, and we do have a few questions. I'd like to just try to get a couple in. Is it okay to see a solar eclipse in selfie mode? I see a lot of people. There's students out here, and students like to take selfies. Is that without glasses? Is that okay to do?
Actually, it is if the sun's especially behind you. Because if you're looking down, the sun's behind you, and you've got it in selfie mode, that actually will protect your eyes. Again, the main thing is you do not want to have it pointed directly at the sun, so that you might move away and see it with your unprotected eyes.
Yeah.
So let me use this opportunity to talk about safety reminders too, about just making sure, like you just said, it's the overall view.
You know, if you're in the partial solar eclipse, make sure that you always have your glasses on to look at the sun. The only time that is safe to take out the glasses when you're all completely, like the moon completely blocks the surface of the sun in totality. As soon as you see that diamond ring effect, that's the timing to actually put back your glasses to look back at that amazing event.
John, let's get one more social question before we go to the next phase here. We're just having too much fun here.
It's starting to get cold and dark here too in Charleston. I think it's pretty obvious by all this outside right here, but it's safe to be outside during the eclipse as long as you don't look directly at the sun.
Absolutely. There's nothing different. We are just having less sunlight shining down on us, but there's no real difference, and it's absolutely safe to be outside. And we, of course, as long as you're safe, encourage that.
Yeah, go outside and watch this event.
Okay. All right, here we go. So let's talk about exoplanets. A solar eclipse is a special kind of transit or movement of astronomical body that passes in front of another. And if you've been watching along with us, you know NASA is using today's transit to further study the sun. We use similar transits to study planets outside of our solar system, or as I said, exoplanets, as they pass in front of their distant star.
While a total solar eclipse is a rare opportunity to learn more about our sun, NASA's Kepler mission has been studying distant stars for an eclipse-like event called a planetary transit. Using a space-based telescope, scientists from Ames Research Center have been measuring the changes in the brightness of stars as their planets orbit or transit in front of them. Kepler has confirmed more than 2,500 exoplanets, or planets beyond our solar system. Many of these are similar to Earth in size and distance from their sun. Studies using Kepler data have revealed a vast range of planet types and sizes, and future discoveries could help enable the search for life in the galaxy. Another major effort at NASA aims to use eclipses to study stars in deep space is called SOFIA, or the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. SOFIA is a modified Boeing 747 SP aircraft that makes celestial observations in the infrared part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Flying up to 45,000 feet, SOFIA operates above 99% of the Earth's water vapor that absorbs most of the infrared light from space. One example of SOFIA's unique qualities as an airborne observatory occurred when researchers recorded infrared imagery of Pluto as it eclipsed a distant star. What we learned from missions like Kepler and SOFIA could help us to better understand the mysteries of our sun, our galaxy, and our place within it.
All right, thank you. We're here live in the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, where it is just about time for totality. And I'm here with my colleagues, Dwayne Brown and John Yembrick, and Jari is somewhere, I believe, Carla Vega, and Alex Young. And you can see the crowd behind us. And if you look up in the sky, which I was doing just before we came back here live, we are probably at about 90% totality. And the good news from the weather standpoint is there are some clouds, but I see some breaks in them just off to the south a little bit. And fingers crossed, really, really tight that those breaks are going to move over as we get into totality in just a few minutes. Dwayne, what do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for, hey, man, we got something. You are the man. You are the man. This is exciting. We got our glasses. We got our scientist. Johnny, come on get in here and Alex here. So we're excited here at the college. Make some more noise, College of Charleston. We are having a ball here. There's still a lot more here through the eyes of NASA. We got the International Space Station coming up. Don't want to miss it. Now here we go here. Safety glasses on, guys.
Get in there, yeah. Maybe a few more minutes to go to totality, but you can see.
Look at that. You can see that. Yeah.
Wow. Johnny, you know, even with the clouds, we can still see it. It's really good, right?
You guys see it?
little bit.
All right. I think we got some breaking clouds. I can see.
Guys, this is amazing, right?
This is amazing.
Through the eyes of NASA. College of Tulsa is getting a large selfie with the students and faculty and everyone here.
2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Dwayne, you've actually seen a total eclipse before.
I have, and it's amazing, and it's spiritual, and it really brings you a step with that. We're just a small pebble on a highway of galactic endlessness.
Does viewing this right now bring you back to that moment several years ago?
It's a little different because I'm here on American soil with you guys here, but it's still breathtaking.
Amazing. Yeah.
You know, Sean, I haven't seen it in Africa and here in the U.S. Doesn't get any better than that. Here we go, host. Here we go, it's coming. Johnny, is it dead? Is it dead?
You know, it's hard to tell. I think that was just the front cover. It's dark and it's getting cooler too, which is nice.
Temperature has dropped.
So, I don't think we're quite there yet. Got some patches of blue just a little ways away.
to remove your glasses and look at the total eclipse. And remove your glasses.
You got a minute and a half, right?
Yeah.
Totality.
Minute and a half of totality. So we have
Once again, it is safe to remove your glasses and look at the total eclipse.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Put the glasses back on now.
Please replace your glasses. You can put your glasses back on to view the sun now. Please place your glasses. You must be wearing your glasses to look at the sun.
I mean, the experience the temperature dropped and it was dark.
Yep, ready for the next one.
Okay, Sean. This is your first, right?
This is my first. That's certainly not my last.
How did it feel?
Amazing. You said it yourself, Dwayne. This is amazing. That's the only word to really describe it. Even though we had the clouds, it was just an incredible experience. We experienced the darkness. We got to experience the temperature drop. We got to see it in, kind of moving in and out between the clouds. But most importantly, we got to experience the energy and the enthusiasm that we feel all around us here today.
Well, this team in the city of Charleston, thank you. We had some iffy weather, but you made it happen.
Well, thank you. And you don't know that happened. I've been also monitoring for possible thunderstorms, which we are having. We've been having just up to the north in places like North Charleston, Goose Creek. Luckily, because of a sea breeze pushing the moisture that's been allowing these clouds to develop, moisture coming in from the Atlantic, that sea breeze has been pushing those thunderstorms inshore, inland a little bit. So even though we still have some cloud cover here, we have been very lucky not to have any rain or thunderstorms like we had yesterday at this time.
You are really a true meteorologist, my friend. Johnny! Hey, Johnny! Okay. Extraordinary. How was it?
It was amazing. Like Sean said, even though that we couldn't see it, considered solar corona, which is what I really, really wanted to see. also, I mean, the energy of the students. You know, we even started hugging up because we were like so excited. I mean, it has been an amazing experience. So the next one, 2024.
Hey, Alex. Gotta feel good, man.
This was fantastic, and it was also a big tease for the next one because, man, I want to do this again. I could feel that shadow overhead. I could see the light and the horizon all the way around, feeling the change in the temperatures, even see the clouds themselves moving differently as that shadow hit overhead. It was fantastic. It was palpable, man. I could just feel the energy around here, and I want more of this.
Well, let's hear what the country and all of this in Charleston. Let's go to social media. Over to you, John.
Yeah, the reactions across the entire nation have been huge. We have, it's actually, if you're watching at home, some of our streams actually went down only because of the fact that, there was just so much traffic on it. Of course, we were broadcasting this all over the country. I want to show up on our slides, some of our graphics here, some really cool things, photos that we have here, some crescent-shaped shadows in Seattle, Washington, taken by Logan Johnson. This is pretty interesting image you haven't really seen anywhere else. The next one here is a totality view from Idaho Falls. This is David Cantillo. Just spectacular images coming in from all over. People are sending us stuff using the various hashtags out there. Eclipse 2017, which is our hashtag, Solar Eclipse 2017, which is trending on Twitter and other places. And of course, we're reading a lot of this stuff coming in too. We're seeing and reading your reactions. Some of it is just really shows the amount of how it really impacts people. And us being here in Charleston, we also saw get really dark here, get cool breeze coming through. Even though there were some clouds, it was like nothing we've really ever experienced before. And so for those of you who are in the path of totality, I hope the views we're showing you here today, it really helped you kind of get the sensation of what we're trying to show. And here's this last one here is a 99.5 near totality. Nerds here in Boise, Idaho, checking it out. One of our photos there. Everyone is wearing eclipse glasses, and it's we still have a partial eclipse on the East Coast. People are still seeing the sun transit, and so it's an exciting time here. I think we have another view here from Bailey Beads, seen from Oregon, from one of our photographers. This is a NASA photographer took this shot right here. I think that's just before the diamond ring pops up, and it's pretty spectacular shot. So I think we're ready to get going again. I think we have a quick question. Would like to take a look at some of these here. A lot of these are questions coming in from Eclipse viewing. Now the eclipse is officially over. I see that. What were your reactions as you were watching it? I know we were out there and stuff, but now that it's over, what's the sensation that having the totality behind you?
I got goosebumps. This is my first total solar eclipse. I actually remember watching, our partial solar eclipse back at home in Puerto Rico, and I mean, this was amazing. Like I said, the darkness that was around us, it was amazing. Being, knowing that it's day.
I was just sort of amazed by the kind of rush and how quickly it all of a sudden happened. The darkness, and then I could feel it all around me. It was really, really powerful.
Well, I'm glad it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad it's cooled down a lot.
Because it was hot. It was hot.
It was very hot.
But the weather, I mean, it's amazing. And as we said earlier in the show, and when we watched, this is my second one, but sharing it with you guys, I mean, this is very, very cool and memorable. And 7 years is another one.
7 years in the U.S., but we've got one in South America.
In Argentina.
So we'll start making reservations already. So this is certainly one for the history books. But we're not done yet. Solar eclipse is traveling over the Atlantic Ocean. So Alex, when we turn to you, how far is it going to go out to the ocean?
It's got another 3,700 miles roughly to travel. It's going to end just off the coast of Africa near Sierra Leone, that area, but that's also where night ends, where night begins, day ends, night begins. So we got a ways to go. There's still some more left, and maybe if you're out on a ship, you're going to get to see some more of it too.
Yeah, we have the Coast Guard 5 miles from Charleston.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. Well, you know what? I've been talking about this. You just tuned in. This is National Television through the eyes of NASA. We have been bringing you unique images, reactions from all over the country. But now, in 30 minutes, we'll be bringing you a view from one place no one else can go. The international. We'll check in with people and see how they experience it. In Charleston, we will continue to see a partial service for about 90 minutes or so. And remember to continue to use safe wearing, viewing, glasses, methods, and everything in between. Safety, safety, safety. Now we're going to my colleague, Karen Fox. Hey, Karen, who's out in the field getting more reaction. This is.
We have been having a ball out here on the side. Everybody had a great time. Today we're going to ask a few questions for the people who work here.
Ya se encontrará entre las películas estéticamente importantes. 18. Durante su estreno, la película afectó a tanta gente en la audiencia que se requirió la presencia de paramédicos, los cuales tuvieron que tratar a varias personas que se desmayaron y otros que sufrieron de histeria. La verdad es que conocer más interesantes es suficiente para entender por qué es tan aterradora la cita. ¿Qué te parece? Como siempre, esperamos que este video te haya gustado. Des manita arriba y lo compartas en todas tus redes sociales. Si aún no te has suscrito a este canal, ¿qué estás esperando? Recuerda que aquí te mostraremos solo lo mejor de tus películas favoritas. Mandamos cariñosos saludos a Gabriela Rodríguez, Tomoyo Shanuno, Bianca Elena Zapata Mogollón, Secro Gamer y en especial a Ángela Reina. Soy la primera persona en comentar el video llamado Locos por las Nueces 2. Recuerda, yo soy Mapper y nos vemos en el próximo video. Si no es de antes, Chumbo pagando con tu tarjeta SIX.